When people are told the history of money, a very simple story is usually used. In the past, people relied only on barter. A farmer had wheat but needed shoes. A shoemaker had shoes but needed meat. No one could find exactly what they wanted. Trade was slow, difficult, and inefficient. Eventually, people found a solution: money. Coins appeared, trade became easier, and civilization advanced. An orderly, logical, and comforting explanation, but not the whole truth. Money did not arise because barter failed. Money arose because governing became difficult. And from the moment it appeared, it became a tool that determined who would control value, who would direct labor, and when necessary, how force would be applied. Welcome to Economic Historian. Here, money is not merely economics. Money is the mechanism of power, and that is why nothing is as simple as it looks. Before money, most societies were not constant bargaining barter economies. In small communities, people did not live by calculation. Relationships were built on memory and mutual obligation. You helped someone because they were part of your group. You did not demand immediate return because you would meet again. Debts were not written down. They were kept in people's minds. Value was not numerical, but social. This system worked surprisingly well in small-scale societies. But when societies grew, balances changed. Villages became cities. Trade began with strangers. People no longer knew one another. Shared history disappeared. And a new problem emerged. Trust did not expand. Memory was no longer enough. Promises lost their binding force. Conflicts increased. Rulers faced a new question. Why would a soldier who does not know you fight for you? Why would people you will never meet again pay you taxes? How can value be collected from distant populations? This is where money enters the scene, not as a convenience, but as an administrative infrastructure. For value to move across distances, it needed a physical carrier, something durable, portable, divisible, and accepted by everyone. Food spoils. Animals wander off. Land cannot be moved. Labor disappears the moment it is used. Metal filled this gap: copper, bronze, and silver. They were chosen not because they were shiny, but because they were reliable. They were durable, measurable, and could be reshaped. They were rare enough to matter, yet common enough to circulate. Metal did not merely store value, it allowed value to move. Yet merchants did not turn metal into money. Authority did. Early states needed money not to simplify trade, but to sustain administration. Armies do not function on promises. Soldiers march on wages, not trust. Payment had to be standardized and widely recognized. Metal made this possible. When states began demanding taxes in metal, society transformed. Even self-sufficient people had to enter markets. Livelihood stopped being a choice and became an obligation. To obtain metal, people began selling their goods, labor, and time. Markets expanded not because of trade, but because of taxation. Money did not liberate people from rulers. It expanded the reach of rulers. This is the side of monetary history rarely emphasized. Money was not neutral. It was not designed to ease exchange between equals. It was designed to measure, collect, and redistribute value. Collected value could be stored. Stored value could accumulate. Accumulated value could generate power. That is why the first financial centers were not marketplaces, but temples and palaces. Priests and kings recorded grain, metal, and labor. Record-keeping existed before coinage. Accounting existed before commerce. The system was built from the top down. Then came a crucial shift: stamped metal. When states marked metal and minted coins, they did more than facilitate trade. They centralized trust. People no longer needed to trust the person handing over the coin. They trusted the authority behind it. In Lydia, Greek cities, and Rome, coins carried gods and rulers. Every transaction repeated the same message. This order had an owner. Rulers soon realized something else. Whoever issues money can alter its quantity. Metal content was reduced and more coins were produced. Spending became easier, but the consequences were delayed. Prices slowly rose. Trust slowly weakened. Soldiers demanded higher pay. Inflation is not a modern discovery. It began the moment money became adjustable. Yet the system endured because societies could not return to the past once money existed. It was too useful. The truth is this: money did not evolve separate from power. It evolved alongside power. Today money is no longer metal, but its logic remains. Taxes are still mandatory. Debts are still enforced. States still spend. Only the vocabulary changed. What was once called debasement is now called liquidity. Where emperors once stood, institutions now stand. But the structure remains. Money was not designed to be fair. It was designed to make large societies governable. This is why crises and inflation are not accidents. They are outcomes of how the system functions. Understanding money is not about predicting the future. It is about understanding the limits of the system you live in. Money carries value. It stores labor. It enables large organizations. But it does not produce justice. It does not create trust. It does not guarantee security. From barter to coins to digital numbers, one thing has not changed. Money did not emerge to make life easier, but to move power across distance. And the most dangerous illusion is not that money is corrupt. It is believing that money is neutral. History does not repeat exactly, but its logic persists. Once you see this, you stop asking why the system behaves as it does. You begin asking, where do I stand within it? If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. Because the answers are hidden in the past.